Welcome everybody to a special episode of Circle of the Earth Fellowship. Um, I've been, to be honest, been a little bit on a writer's block when it comes to ideas because we've covered so many, and it's like at this point, it's like there's almost little nuances in the things we've already talked about because we've talked about it from such a general scale. But this video came across my feed, and I watched a good portion of it, and it was I wouldn't call it a great debate, but it definitely was a debate. I guess I don't know. We'll get into that, but like we always do, before we do, let's go ahead and say hello to those who are on the panel. Looks like it's me and you tonight, Kyle, which you'd normally be sitting right here, but we had a Sabbat, a Sabbath gathering here at my house, and other people were here, and it was going to be a later thing, so he ran home, and yeah. Anyways, and we're gonna do it now. So welcome, brother. Good to see you after just seeing you. Yeah. 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 He's just trying to save us from that CIA. Oh, dude, you've been. Oh, dang it. Okay, there we go. All right, talk again. Oh.
I mean, the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, I apologize. It's been a while, right, since I have done that, but I don't know. But to what you were saying, like I don't know if y'all have this, but I will run across certain individuals within the truth community in general, and they'll just give me a bad vibe. And it's like the other people, they're like, no, they're awesome. Like, just, like I know them personally, they're good guys. And multiple people, like, all rubbed me the wrong way. Alex Stein, Jaronism, who is that rim job made by Jim Bob, one of from
Yeah.
Owen Benjamin, that whole thing. And it's like there's just certain people that just rub me kind of the wrong way, and Will Duffy is definitely one of those people. I muted him from the channel, but he had posted the thing on the when we talked about the final experiment when Sean was here. He actually posted like all this stuff, and it was like I was gonna respond to him, and I'm like, no, you're literally not worth my time, dude. The only reason why we're responding to this is for entertainment value, like to make fun of the things that you say because they're literally ridiculous. Like we kind of talked about it earlier when you were here. Like all they have to do is like, here, this is the science textbook from high school. This is my proof. All the things and things that are claimed within this book. This is what I believe. Where's your
The,
textbook?
the other thing about this is like Will Duffy will not address any other arguments except for the
The sky.
24-hour Antarctica, his
Yep.
supposed sub flight stuff. Even if it is real, like we can talk about that. But I want you to, back up and defend the rest of the ball Earth claims. I want you to defend their claim of the core Earth, gravity, the ether not existing. I want you to make sense of like what your actual model is, because if you're going to like sit here and claim that you don't believe in what the world has told us is true. You're so on one hand saying like, and it's as simple as like what you learn in school is in the science books, but then we go and ask you, are you a heliocentrist? And you're like, no, not every Christian believes in that, don't you know? Like many other Christians are like geocentrists and they believe like the earth is the center, but it's a ball. I'm like, okay, I understand that, but that's like, are you one of those people? And is this like, what is your, how are you going to ask for everyone to have a perfect belief and claim when you can't even produce the simple fundamental things for your own model to sustain itself, and logically for the value of everyone else to continue to like embrace it? When you can't prove, you can't dig deep enough, we can't go up high enough to see the curve. We can see it, we can see the boats go over the curve at the ocean, but we can't go high enough up to see the curve. Katy Perry goes to space. I'm sure that did your whole entire mission value, Will, after that happened. All the propaganda in every single news source talking about the 24-hour sun, and then now they're talking about how that was faked. I wonder if there's any correlation there. Like, are why would they have to fake it? Obviously.
Yeah, well, there's so much stuff, and what I will say is that he plays that like super knowledgeable in one sense, but then this like full in the other sense, where we'll see valid arguments brought up, and when they're that wall that he literally he can't answer because it would contradict his belief, he then says I don't know, and then just steps back from that whole dialogue. And so it's such a dishonest, like intellectually dishonest, and it's bad faith to argue like that. Like, hey, anytime he brings up something that I can't, that, like you said, doesn't directly involve my silly claims, then I'm just going to say I don't know, where that's not what we're here to talk about. Even though, like, this, it wasn't like the 24-hour, like the debate name wasn't 24-hour sun disproves FE, for Will against, there was no negative, like there was no, it was on it dishonest. We'll get into that. Let's without further ado, people, let's actually get into the review and start watching some of this hilarity ensue. It's kind of hard to watch sometimes, to be honest, because it's just like what I imagine just like slamming my face into a brick wall would feel like. That's what it feels like intellectually for me. I don't know about y'all, but let's get into it. Oh, I got to share that over here. Bear with me while I get that set up. And we're doing this one. No, this one. Perfect. And you can see that? Kyle?
Yes.
Okay, sweet.
Yep, we're good.
And you can hear it? Sweet. Make sure stream can hear it.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to Standing for Truth. My name is Donnie Bedinsky, and I am your host and moderator for tonight's highly anticipated...
All right, I'm already bored. Let's skip through that. I'd rather watch Kingdom in Context commercials, but that was all of them. So we'll just skip into the debate.
Sean Griffin. To those in the audience who like what they're hearing
Let's
from
go.
Sean,
One,
helping
two,
us comprehensive.
3, 4,
we are doing this
5,
for this F
6,
model of the shape.
7,
Here's our format.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Oh my God, dude. Danny, Donnie.
What we'll do top
oh my God.
On a flat earth.
In terms of
all right, guys, grit your teeth. Here we
go.
go.
30 minutes. Will.
It's going to be a rough one.
When you're ready to go, I can also put your slides up.
And by the way, I say grit teeth, not like the Pharisees say grit teeth, but it's like, you know, when you're like in like a social environment and there's like that person who's just like telling these extravagant lies, and like people are just like, yeah, oh, cool, wow, you know what I mean? It's just like that awkward, it's like, but you know, we're watching it. It's like we could click away, but then we don't get to hear the ridiculousness. So it's like, you know, I guess it's like watching, it's like
sticking around.
Oh yeah, or it's like watching a car crash, right? It's like you want to watch, like you watch right until the impact and then you look away. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely more car crash, because that's exactly what it felt like with Will Duffy every time he gets on one of these, and he comes out like that drunk dude, like what? Like I didn't do anything.
I'm the best driver there is. I got the best answers you could possibly take.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah.
It's so silly. All right, let's get into it. We'll let this play for a bit, guys, and let Will Duffy tell you what he has to think.
Or your presentation up whenever you're good with that as well.
Yeah, why don't you get it set up and then we can start.
Okay, so I've got that up on the screen, and I can start the timer as soon as you're ready to start your presentation.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead.
Flat Earth is officially finished. I created the final experiment, TFE, to once and for all settle this debate over the shape of the Earth. I came up with TFE in November of 2023 after hearing so many flat earthers say there was no 24-hour sun in Antarctica, and if there was a 24-hour sun, that would prove the globe and be impossible on a flat Earth. Shortly thereafter,
oh my God, I love watching Will Duffy when I can pause him, when I can stop him talking so that like my brain doesn't feel like it's like attacking it's like I have HIV of the brains, you know what I mean? Where it's like, but his first thing, so many, okay, well, unlike y'all, where y'all are this conglomerate that has to believe, I'm gonna turn this on just to say this, who all have to believe the exact same thing per what the modern science is saying. Not all quote unquote flat earthers are the same. Okay, a lot of people will use that. Oh, well, every flat earther I talk to gives me a different conclusion. Yeah, because there's childlike wonder, where we're literally wondering what this world is and what creation is. And from what we have looked at, from what we have observed, there's no way it is what they say it is. There's no way that they can make these fallacious claims, these extraordinary claims, and then require us to provide the evidence. These extraordinary claims have millions of dollars and every human spirit on the line. So it's like, why would any Christian, to me, believe that it would be insane that conspiracy is afoot when they believe the evil? Oh wait, the evil one, isn't it? It's just a spiritual meaning. There isn't really a devil. There isn't really an adversary. It's, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's just so frustrating. What were you gonna say, brother?
I was just gonna say, like he himself, like what you were saying, they all expect everyone to believe the exact same way as each other and everyone else. But Will Duffy, don't you already know? You already look stupid to the rest of the world. Like, you're a Christian, bro. If you claim to believe the Bible, you already look dumb. And you're looking even dumber when you claim you believe things like, oh, I'm not a heliocentrist, or I know it's a ball, but I don't know the particulars of how all that works. There are other models out there, geocentrists, that believe in a ball Earth and things like that. Like, okay, you want to claim diameters are different and things like that. Well, those are massive claims that you need to stand on. Stand on business, handle it. So that it's
Yeah,
just
shift the burden of the proof. Shift a burden of proof fallacy. They do it literally all the time. They say, "Oh no, you have this extraordinary claim that the Earth is this," and it's like, we don't know what the Earth is. Here's the scripture of what the Earth is claimed to be. This is what I think it is. I have no idea. I don't have the physical means to map the Earth out. And even if I could, I also believe in a scripture that says no one can understand how big the foundations are. No one can understand the breadth and the width of the Earth. So to say that we have this satellite model that just is like can tell us the topography and all the dimensions, and you know what I mean, it's just so on one side, but then on the other side, literally, like, what the crust of the Earth is 100 miles. It makes up 1% of the total thing, yet we've only dug in 8% of that 100 miles, so 8% of the 1%, yet we want to claim what the other 99 point, what?
right.
Basically,
Will Duffy wants to claim that's the firmament.
yeah.
We dug, 8% or whatever through there. It's like you're these. If you wanted to, like, appeal to flat earthers and, like, make a logical argument to bring people back, quote unquote flat earthers, people who believe this, like, you have to understand, like, we already know what the words mean, and you're not going to convince us otherwise. Like, we have established that the firmament is a arched structure, that it's a
vaulted dome.
Vaulted dome, and you act like you don't know what these words mean. You're just, you play dumb. You don't. I know what vaulting is in the Olympics.
Well, and they're literally like, "Oh, prove that there's a dome," and it's like, "Oh, well, we can show you. We can show you that there's all of these effects of a dome, like gas pressure and different atmospheric things, right? But we can't go and show you knock, 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 because again, we can't freely explore." He's like, "Yeah, you say that you can't go to Antarctica. We went to Antarctica." Yeah, you couldn't freely explore it. You're like, "See this line? You stay there. You don't stay within this line. We're gonna take you and put you in jail in Chile." Right? Like,
yeah. And not to mention, I don't necessarily, like, personally believe they can even reach the dome, because I think that the extension of the ice and how far and cold it gets, that you like, they want us to believe that you get to this South Pole point where you're at the very center of the bottom of the ball, and the sun does a perfect circle around you. There's no deviation as it goes up, because of which makes sense, sure, either on a flat Earth or on a globe Earth. It's the same way looking at the North Star, or looking at the North Pole, seeing the 24-hour sun in the north. Depending on how far you are off from that center point, would cause the sun to go up and down in the sky. Sure, that's fine. You want to claim that it works on both models, it doesn't make a difference.
And again, when does the sky? We're gonna say this because we're gonna probably say this a million times. Again, when does what's happening in the sky? How can you assume that you can take information from that and apply it to this? Who told you that? Like, what makes you think you can do that? Right? There's no reason to believe that you look up, you see those things, and you assume, oh, those things are the same as this thing, right? So it's like, you got to even show me where that claim even came from. You know, it's so preposterous. All right, it's hard, but let's keep going.
Thereafter, I was invited to watch a debate between two pastors over the shape of the earth. The debate was between Greg Locke and Dean Odell and took place on December 2nd,
Dean pooped on
2023, near Nashville, Tennessee. I decided to attend this debate in person as I had already begun creating the final experiment in order to settle this debate for good. To my complete shock, the flat earth pastor, Dean Odell, said from the stage near the beginning of the debate that this whole disagreement could be settled by going to Antarctica and seeing if there was a 24-hour sun or not.
I won't say Dean. We'll see. Dean will probably say this. What I will say is Dean can be wrong. That's okay, Will Duffy. We can be wrong and still know that the globe is false. If you're wrong about one thing, your whole model falls apart, sir.
I know. And how many times has the globe changed and been wrong about it's so many different things. How many times has it been like what does Michio Kaku say? You know, maybe when this comes up again, it could be referenced, but he's just like, you know, everything we do in astronomy, astrophysics is, you know, off to the 10 to the 120, 10 to the 120th, you know, something like that. And it's like,
when he also says, like, we do this stuff we don't use the scientific method. We're doing it by the seat, you know, like on the edge of our seat.
All in our heads. Yeah, exactly.
Like, so this is groovy creation, baby. We're not getting hung up on the scientific method.
Like, so it's kind of wild, you know, when people don't realize the claims when they are by proxy defending one, they're defending multiple. And Will Duffy doesn't seem to grasp that. He's like, I want to stick to these specific ones. But it, you know, it goes so much further than that. The reason we came to biblical cosmology, and yes, that doesn't mean what you think it means, Will, and you don't get to like change what that means. You know, to all of us who say that, we mean the Earth is an enclosed system. So, you know, like, yeah, never mind. Just continue. I lost my train of thought.
No, it's okay. Like, you could literally keep talking about all these false, he's just salacious, like Will Salacious Duffy. Like, that's I don't know, like it's anyway. Yeah, let's just keep going. I could shoot myself.
I was gonna say, yeah, we all came to this understanding through, like, most of us, through a preponderance of evidence.
Yeah, and not just, oh gosh, the 24-hour sun, boom. Gotcha. Now that curvature rate all of a sudden makes sense, even though you're seeing too far.
NASA totally went to the moon, and Katy Perry went to space, and I think I need to go to Walgreens to get myself a little, you know,
jabbity jab.
You know?
Let's keep going.
You know, this would be easy to prove, but they hide this from us too. All we'd have to prove is go to Antarctica. Let me and you go to Antarctica, spend a week there in the summer, and let's see if the sun does a 360-degree circle all the way around us. If so, it's a ball.
This was my confirmation that my idea for TFE was indeed final, hearing from yet another flat earther himself that going to Antarctica and seeing if there was a 24-hour sun would end this debate. The final experiment was just that, final in every way. There is no flat earth map or model that can account for the observations and experiments we conducted on our trip to Antarctica and to the tip of South America. As it turned out, the 24-hour sun was just the tip of the iceberg, pun intended. So many other observations and experiments
But don't so funny, Will. You know how many of your own people laughed? None, bro.
confirmed the globe, and these are all impossible on a flat Earth. If no flat earther, including my opponent Sean, can provide a working map or model that can account for all of these, then the debate is over. Full stop. As we go through these observations one by one and the results of our experiments, I want you to keep something very important in mind. Every single flat Earth claim was wrong. Every single flat Earth prediction was demonstrably false. Every single one.
So when we said that we can see too far, that was false? All those laser mirror reflections, all of those were false? All of the pointing out of all the fakery of NASA. It's so dumb,
Yeah.
dude. It's so dumb.
Not to mention just like how navigators and people use things like the Antikythera mechanism and astrolabes and compasses and everything for thousands and thousands of years, assuming the Earth was a flat stationary plane, and all those things were all like Mayan calendars that assumed a flat Earth that predict eclipses and solar cycles, all the analemma, all your things like it. They all believe that and they can predict that. In fact, we know that you guys model all of your predictions based on what the ancients had already laid out for us. You set all of your calendars and timers, and you know all this based on that. And you just sort of distort the information a little bit. But the truth is, you're not modeling anything through believing it's a globe. You've already just taken the information. Everyone knows it's a clock, or everyone knew then that sky was a clock in that way. And so, it could be calculated, and you guys claim you have to know it's a ball to do that. It's like, well, the ancients didn't.
How fast do you have to be traveling to leave the Earth's atmosphere, to leave to break gravity of Earth, to get into low Earth orbit?
Probably fast enough to break your neck.
It's 17,000 miles an hour.
Oh, that is. So their travel speed, or what they are, the ISS travels around, what the shuttles used to do.
The satellite is something like 21,000. The ISS is supposedly like 21,000 miles an hour because it's out supposedly further. But what my point is this. In order to send a vessel, okay, you got those people that are left out there, right? So they got to send something traveling 17,000 miles an hour in order to get into the low Earth orbit. Then how do they slow down and not crash into them? And then if they're attached to the ISS and they're going faster, then wait, it has to be going, it's like they have to be going the exact same speed. Okay, you know what I mean? It's like, how do people just like, I guess I used to do it, right? I used to eat it up. But it's like, it's so hard, man. Like once it's like, it really is like They Live, right? Where he's like, put on these glasses, and it's like, I don't want to. Do not put those glasses on me, right? Like, they don't want to know, because if we do live in a terrarium, like, I would guess Will Duffy, this is complete guess, I have no proof of this, but I would guess that Will Duffy is a free grace type of person, meaning he doesn't need to live according to God's laws. He, do basically do as thou wilt, but all sins are forgiven, past, present, and future. Like, it's like, no matter what you do, you cannot fall from grace once you say these words. And I bet you he's that way, because it's like, a lot of the times it's like they don't They want to be right. They don't want to share truth. They want to perpetuate the lie. That's just my opinion. I don't know else how to see it from the arguments that they make with the information that they choose to ignore. It's just, to me, it's obvious at this point. All right, let's keep chugging.
This is not some crazy coincidence. It's because we do not live on a flat Earth.
What was that?
I say my camera keeps freezing for some reason on YouTube. Like my face is like stuck in a frozen.
Weird. I apologize. All right. Well, let's keep checking. You might quit and jump back in. That might help you.
Yeah.
Because we live on a globe, every single time a flat earther makes a prediction or claim that contradicts the globe, it will fail. I don't have time to cover all of the demonstrably false claims from flat earthers prior to TFE, but I will highlight some of the bigger ones now. First, flat earthers said for years that you could not go to Antarctica.
People have made the distinction over and over that there is no free and private exploration of Antarctica. People, we have said multiple times, yeah, you can go on a guided tour. You can go to a place where they're like, here, you're in Antarctica. Stay behind these lines. Don't go over there. Okay, we have a few expeditions we can take you, which are guided tours that take you to specific locations. No one's ever denied that, Will. We have specifically said there is no free and private exploration. Okay? You have to jump through all of these hoops in order to privately go. And even then, there's all of these rules that you have to abide by, basically making it impossible to venture into any degree that would be worth it for what we would want to do with it. And so to say that we said that you can't go there, period, point blank, maybe some have said that. But again, see, it's so fallacious what he's doing. It's so dishonest because, and we'll see him do this. And I want to say this real quick. I know I'm kind of stopping the video, whatever. But like literally what Will does is he'll play a whole bunch of segments from a whole bunch of different people and then argue that that's Sean's position. How more bad faith can you be? And for Donnie, watching this happen, this opening where he is talking about what all these other people are saying, not what Sean is saying, it's literally insane. And the time he does show what Sean says, where Sean is wrong, he admits it. But I'll let y'all see that. I'll shut up. Let's keep going.
Okay. Now you have some problems. First off, we're not even allowed to go there because of the longest standing treaty in mankind, the Antarctic Treaty. We're not allowed below the 60th. I think it's the 60th. Might be the 66th parallel south. But you're not allowed to go there.
They would also say things like you can only go to the coast of Antarctica or you could only go to the Antarctic Peninsula. All of this was false. When I created the final experiment and started researching how to get to Antarctica and where you could go, I was overwhelmed by how many tour companies take people to Antarctica every year. I had to make a spreadsheet to try and keep track of it all. Next, flat earthers said there was not a 24-hour sun in Antarctica.
There is, in fact, never 24-hour sunlight anywhere in Antarctica, because even when the sun reaches its outermost circuit over the Tropic of Capricorn, the entirety of the Antarctic circumference cannot be reached by its light at any one time, and so it will still set every day.
Prior to TFE, most flat earthers subscribed to Gleason's map of the world with a circling sun above it. This would make a 24-hour sun in Antarctica impossible. In fact, in the lower right corner of Gleason's map, It says there is no sunlight at all in Antarctica beyond 80 degrees south.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I just wanted to say something real quick for CEF. So I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna make this bigger for everyone. Let me see if I can grab it. Just bear with me just a moment, everyone. That is this one. Okay, so I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. Oh, let me. Okay, so when I made this, right, it's like a footstool. It sits on 4 pillars. You know, it's a table. It's a round table. We're coming together and we're talking from different points of view. But I want y'all to look up here. I'm guessing it's what is the earth? What is the firmament? What is the sky? We don't know. How does that work? We don't know. It is a big question mark. Now, yeah, I have it going light and shadow and I'm going around, and yeah, if you went to Antarctica and it worked this way, maybe that would not make sense depending on who knows. But what my point is that's okay that we don't know. We don't know these things, but they need an answer. They need a model. They need a map, even though we say we don't know. And we don't have to know that the globe is incorrect. They think, no, you need to know these things because they prove a globe. No, they don't. All they prove is that the sky works in mysterious ways that are beyond our understanding. That doesn't mean we are spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, falling backwards so everything appears to be moving, even though it is us that is moving. And it's just so silly and preposterous.
Absolutely. And for them who think they have a model and a map and everything like that, it's you don't. Your maps are drastically wrong. That continents are out of proportion in size and shape, and not to mention like the best model I've ever seen created was made out of styrofoam balls that were painted. That they went around in a circle around the sun there, and anything that's made similar to that. It's like you don't have that is not a model that represents all the things that we have in our reality. You're forgetting to uphold your side of a claim here when you say you want a model, because what I see on screen is a much better model and representation of reality, at least with gas pressure and water and everything being contained in a system, then founded on a foundation there where it's all held in, than what you're claiming with all these theatrics where things are spinning around each other and there's elliptical orbit.
Going speeds that are literally unimaginable and
Right.
unverifiable, right? Because it's all relative. Yeah, it's so silly. Last thing I want to point out is, I did use the Gleason's map for the basis of this map, but as you see, there's a whole bunch of puzzle pieces missing. We don't know what the Earth is. That's okay. You want a model. You want to have these exact. We don't need that. Just like we don't need to see Yeshua to believe he is who he says he is. We don't need to see Yah and him perform miracles, like these grand miracles, to not notice the little individual miracles that he does in our life. So yeah, it's okay. We don't have to have the whole map figured out to give you an alternative when you have the burden of proof. You do, Will, not us.
My opponent, Sean, also doubled down on there not being a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. First, last June, Sean had me on his channel to discuss TFE. Now, we need to take a quick tangent here. Notice in the description, Sean says I am joining him to discuss my public challenge to biblical cosmology. This is manipulative and disingenuous. Flat earthers, including my opponent, use this term, biblical cosmology, as if it's synonymous with a flat earth. Nothing could be further from the truth. I hold to biblical cosmology, as does Donnie, who is hosting this debate.
No, you don't. You hold to scientism cosmology and then use the Bible, interpret the Bible through that lens to get to your quote unquote understanding. No, Don, no, there, Will. And disingenuous. No, you say the firmament is the ground. Like nothing you say is biblical about your cosmology, brother. Sorry. Try again.
But we have disagreements with Sean's position on biblical cosmology. People disagree with each other. That's a fact of life. And in the world of theology and
real quick, I think that is one of the true things that this guy says.
biblical matters, it's no different. Disagreements and different interpretations abound. If someone calls their own personal view biblical theology, despite the fact that many people disagree, you can see how disingenuous that is. And
that's not disingenuous to say the Bible is like, oh, these commandments. Oh, no, like when he says, don't think that I've come to destroy the law, but to fulfill it, that actually means you don't have to do the law anymore. It's all but destroyed for you, at least. It's like oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. I'll let him keep talking.
Yeah. Actually, real quick, he makes this claim like later where he's like, Sean, I can't believe you would be, you would use the Bible to like at a shape of the earth debate as proof of the shape of the earth. And I'm like, what didn't you understand about biblical cosmology, bro?
Yeah. He doesn't use any biblical nothing. All of his stuff is from the information that they got from going to the Antarctica, supposedly. So, anyways, let's keep going.
Even worse, imagine inviting someone for a discussion specifically on theological disagreements and putting in the description ahead of time that they are coming to discuss their public challenge to biblical theology. People disagree on theology. People disagree on cosmology. And they all believe that their position is biblical. So anytime during this discussion, when Sean uses the term biblical cosmology, remember that he has redefined that term as synonymous with a flat earth, but it's not. All the varying views on cosmology among those who believe the Bible is true can all be described as biblical cosmological views. Going back to Sean's position that there was not a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, a few days after having me on his channel, Sean posted this video to his channel. You'll notice it's titled Multiple Testimonies Against 24-Hour Southern Summer Sun in Antarctica, and he was furthering his case that there is not a 24-hour sun. And then a few days later, Sean had MC Toon on his channel, and both TFE and the 24-hour sun were, of course, brought up. And Sean told MC Toon that the globe side has no video evidence of a 24-hour circling sun in Antarctica.
I just got to correct Will Duffy on something real quick.
So you have quote unquote.
It's not MC Toon, it's Mick Toon. He's actually part of a legendary trope of jesters. So you got to make sure that it's Mick Toon, not MC Toon. I just wanted to clarify that for everybody.
Will, of course, knows this. He's part of that same awesome group.
I think he was adopted. He's like adopted into that family. Yeah.
He's playing coy. He likes to do that. He likes to pretend that he's not like a part of things that he's a part of. Like, oh yeah, the final experiment.
Did you ever hear about the final experiment? I heard that they're doing something really cool. You should probably subscribe and give them money while you're at it.
Exactly.
Testimony with no video evidence. We have testimony.
Oh,
with
I have
video evidence.
I have video evidence.
No, you don't. You've got edited film. You do not have a 24-hour video evidence of the Antarctic summer sun circling above someone's head for 24 hours. The body of the sun.
Now, this was completely false, and so MC Toon brought up a video of the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And Sean argued against it with some incredibly weak arguments, as you will see here.
Dude, he's like literally reading like an AI prompt or something. As you see here. Like, let's go back.
Weak arguments.
Look at us
here. Against it with some against it
with some really seriously weak arguments, as you'll see here. Let's go to you, Nancy.
Coming up next, let's go to you.
And look at that face. He's getting ready for the switch up.
As you will see here.
As you will see here. All right, wait. Okay, what link? Okay, thank you.
So who's Robert Schwartz?
Robert Schwartz. Schwartz spent time at the South Pole. This is
Wouldn't that be like, that has to be comedy? Like, who's Robert Schwartz? Yeah, he spent some time at Antarctica. I know he would have to, because like I think he's taking this video, but like, yeah, that's pretty much all I know.
How do you know Robert Schwartz?
No, like that's cool.
how
cool
do you know the guys in the video that you did? You don't know them either. So
No, I don't.
We're
But
at the same
they actually have a timestamp. They have dates. They have coordinates. You have a random video that's moving in circles where I can already see cuts in the clouds because it's moving at high speed. So I'm just saying to you,
standard flat Earth denial.
how do you know Robert Schwartz?
This is 5 days.
Why
5
should
days.
it go?
Yep. This destroys flat Earth. You asked why hasn't it been blasted around? I don't know why.
Here's a first critical question.
It's been there for 7 years, Sean.
Michael, here's the first critical control. Where you said 120 hours, where he's coming out to change the.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip through this because I just MC Toon is
So
like,
it's not a complete video.
he will make me laugh too hard that I'll never be able to get through
in
it.
front of the camera. And saying it is a time lapse and not a complete video is not a valid argument against the evidence either. And then in November, just a month before we went to Antarctica, Sean was doing a live stream and someone asked him what his confidence level was that there was not a 24-hour sun. Hear his answer.
Of a 24-hour sun.
Dad is king.
And it depends on if they're actually taking them to the spot they claim they're taking them to. If they are, and then it's definitely not going to be a 24-hour sun. If they're actually taking them to that specific spot, then you would not have, because the descriptions of Enoch and the creation model, you would not have the 24-hour sun.
So Sean joined the rest of the Flat Earth community in communicating a very strong confidence that there would not be a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Now, to be fair to
I
Sean,
wasn't part of that. I don't know about you,
Yeah.
but for me, like I've thought about like some of the southern stuff for a very long time, for 10 years at this point, and like if you asked me my confidence level, no one ever did, but if someone did, I wouldn't have confidence on either side. I still don't. It's like it would have to be one of those things that I saw myself, because, well, respectfully, I don't trust you, Will. But I personally wouldn't necessarily make the claim that one or the other is possible or not. I personally, like, it's too too hard to tell because I've always lived in the northern, hemisphere over here, and there are certain like it has always been, but we can't. I also like I don't know if anyone else can sympathize this way, but I sympathize with everyone who was like, yeah, of course there wouldn't be or anything like that because they keep Antarctica so well kept from us that it's so hard to get into. And yeah, there's guided tours and everything like we've talked about, but it for the main normal laity person to go down and test that experiment. We're still relying on your word, Will, and respectfully, I don't trust you. I don't necessarily trust Jaren or Witsit or anybody that I can't go and see their fruits. There are certain people that I trust, probably would trust more than others based on those fruits. Absolutely. But until I can like absolutely know that person to a core, I don't. So for you to throw us all into the same boat, you're not representing us correctly, and the flat Earth won't die because because you're muted.
I was just gonna say that's not honest, Will, to just say, oh, he joins all of the flat Earth community. It's like it. It's
Yes.
that's in not is not genuine,
Yes.
So, what another thing I was gonna bring up is again the statements that he makes, right, are it's just so infuriating because it's like the statements that he makes are inflammatory in the essence that he's saying, "Oh, y'all all believe the same thing," and it's like, okay, Will, if it was so, why were you only able to find one person, right, to say there would be no, like, you should have like 5 minutes of that. Nope, you'll never be able to see it. This would disprove it. No, you had like 3 people, maybe. And even that, like, out here, I'll just lay it out for me. This was my thought, is I believe that they probably have the technology where they could fake a sun. Okay, let's say they didn't. Let's say they didn't fake the sun, and I gave them the benefit of the doubt. They really went there, and they really did see a 24-hour sun. The sun was 24-hour. That does not answer the shape, or even if the Earth is a quote-unquote shape, of where we are. The curvature hasn't changed. All these other factors, the preponderance of evidence hasn't changed just because the sky works differently than we thought. Like, how hard is this for you to understand? We can say we were wrong. We thought the sun and the moon would work like this on this. Okay? Oh, it doesn't? Giving you the benefit of the doubt that it was real and all that jazz. Even if that's the case, that doesn't do anything. All that does is say, oh, the heavens are more mysterious. It's not as simple as it just going around in a circle. We have no idea what structure it is. We know there is a structure. We know there's gas pressure. There has to be something for this pressure to push up against for there to be pressure. So yeah, that's my thoughts. If it happened and it was real, what happens in the heaven has no effect of what's here on Earth and what Earth is. Boom.
Sean, he did seem to change his mind after our trip and after we live streamed the midnight sun and also video recorded the 24-hour sun. He seems to have latched on to Joe Handy's model, which Joe and Sean and others think reconciles a 24-hour sun in Antarctica with a flat Earth. It doesn't, and I'm actually excited for Sean to bring up Joe Handy's model because it's very easy to refute. But we will get to that later in the debate. Some people argue that a single data point, such as the existence of a 24-hour sun in the south in Antarctica, is not enough to falsify flat Earth and prove the globe. They argue that you need a preponderance of evidence to show which side is actually correct. Fortunately, TFE ended up being about much more than just the 24-hour sun. As you are about to see, every globe prediction was correct and every flat Earth claim was wrong. Shortly before we went to Antarctica, I released this video on the TFE channel. The one thing everyone completely forgot about. This video was about the moon. Leading up to our trip, everyone was talking about the sun, but on the globe, there is not just a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, there is also a 24-hour moon. And flat earthers had made it clear that they also denied the existence of the 24-hour moon.
Right? You know, there's a 24-hour moon in the north, but not a 24-hour moon in the south.
And my opponent also asked me about the 24-hour moon during our interview last June. Why no flat earther has put forth a model where a 24-hour sun would work in Antarctica is because there isn't one.
Why are we just talking about the sun? What about the moon? Wouldn't there be a 24-hour moon also?
Yes, Sean, there is also a 24-hour moon. Multiple people have filmed the 24-hour moon in Antarctica. And we actually released the first ever video of a 24-hour moon taken in the winter in Antarctica, courtesy of Anthony Powell, who has spent many years in Antarctica. Up next is sunrise and sunset directions. Our journey to Antarctica took us through South America, specifically a town called Punta Arenas, which is at the very southern tip of Chile. What's significant about this is that we were south of the Tropic of Capricorn. According to flat earthers, the sun should always be to the north of you if you are south of the Tropic of Capricorn. And one flat earther even told me before our trip that we would know if the earth was a globe or flat based on what the sun did while we were at the southern tip of Chile.
Oh, so now that flat earther speaks for all people who believe that the earth cannot be a globe, that have proved that the earth cannot be a globe. Dude, you're you're not genuine.
At play. Regardless of whether you're on a globe or whether you're on a flat, you are going to be south of the Tropic of Capricorn. You're going to be south of the furthest zenith position that the sun makes. So you are going to have to look north to see the sun. And it would be real simple that as it traverses to the west, if it arcs in a west by northwesterly direction at all, you're not on a globe.
Oh, I forgot. Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind speaks for all of us. I forgot, everyone. Sorry. We all have to go home now.
I don't know who that is, but okay.
Arcs.
I literally never seen this guy in my life, and yet he's proof to me of his words and him being wrong. All of a sudden, I have to imagine that curve that I didn't see as far as I did.
Around, if it starts to track, you don't even have to see it for 24 hours. All you have to do is watch which way it tracks. If it goes west by northwest, you're gonna be on you're on a flat earth. If it's going past you in a west by southwest direction, in other words, angling off to this way, arcing around you, then you're definitely on a globe.
Definitely, because the sky completely indicates, again, what's on the ground. Duh, guys. Mic drop. Boom.
Definitely gotta be a globe. I mean, You know it's a globe because of what the sun did. You remember when Eratosthenes we had the sticks? You know, it's like that. You know it's how big the earth is just based off the sun and some sticks.
Aristophanes knew that we are a globe way thousands of years ago. Please forget that Christopher Columbus thought he was gonna fall over the edge just a little bit later. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
When we got to Punta Arenas, all eyes were on the sun. Both sides were curious. Would it set in a southerly direction, as the globe predicted, or would it set in a northerly direction, as a flat Earth
As some flat earthers predicted.
would require? And once again, the globe side was correct. The sun set from right to left toward the south. And the really cool thing was that you could see the movement of the sun through a very faint twilight throughout the night to the south until it rose again, still in a southerly direction. Up next is the South Celestial Pole. Flat earthers have denied a South Celestial Pole for years, as they believe the stars in the night sky all rotate around Polaris, the North Star.
In the southern outer hemisphere, people say that the stars rotate in the opposite direction. They make
Flat Earth Dave says it, so that means we all have to believe everything that Flat Earth Dave says. Remember, because we're like them, where if their priests say something, everyone must agree. They say we're in a cult. No, they have the cult. They have the, if you don't believe, you're not a part of the team. If you don't believe, you're dumb. You're ostracized. Like, it's such a joke that they think we have to be this conglomeration of one idea like they are. It's oh my god.
circles in the opposite direction, and that can only happen on a ball Earth. I have yet to see any real proof of this.
On a globe, you would have both a north and south celestial pole. And most importantly, on a globe, the stars in the south would rotate in the opposite direction that they do in the north and around a different point in the sky. And again, while at the southern tip of Chile, we were super curious to see the movement of the stars in the night sky.
Hold on. Do you see my background? Let me turn on my camera. Okay. So like if you look at this image from it's like when it's blown up right here, this corner up here, it all the stars are rotating the same direction, even in this planetarium thing I'm looking at, where this is like a live picture inside this planetarium here. And so it's showing how they rotate in the north and in the south on a dome above a flat room over their heads right there. And so if you look at the equator at the stars, they are rotating in the same direction. It's just the direction in which you're looking at them. I don't understand why that's so hard to understand. It's kind of like well, why are the stars upside down when I'm in the southern hemisphere? Why is the moon upside down? And it's like, okay, well, stick a picture of a moon to your ceiling, look at it, walk to the other side of the room, look at it, tell me if it's upside down. Very simple.
Yeah, that is one example, but at the same time, it's like, again, things happening in the sky don't even have to work like that. Like,
Exactly.
we don't even know what the firmament is. Like, it's like, I don't think it's as simple as just a hemispheric, thing of sapphire, right? It could be this mechanism that has so much sophistication in the physical world and or the spiritual world. Like, we have no idea of its majesty. He took a whole day of creation to make it, so it's like it's intricate. There's gates. There's So yeah, to even look up in the sky in any type of way and say, well, yeah, and this is the thing. I actually was thinking about this. The devil isn't going to present a lie as fact if that lie is easily or demonstrably, like, easily falsifiable, right? All the things that the evil one says could be true, and to say that there wouldn't be a conspiracy for the evil one to make people believe in something that's not true. It's like, isn't that what we all believe? Isn't that happened in Genesis, like 3? So please explain to me why we wouldn't think he would continue with that behavior. It's like, I don't know. It's annoying. I know I keep stumbling, but it's like, oh. All right. Let's listen to Will tell us how we all have to believe what these other people believe in order to believe what we individually believe.
And once again, the globe side was correct. 3 of us, MC Toon, Dave McKeegan, and myself, all filmed the southern stars rotating clockwise around the south celestial pole. This, of course, is the exact opposite of the counterclockwise movement of the stars around Polaris in the north. Here is an incredible video taken by Robert Schwartz of the South Celestial Pole while he was in Antarctica, and he actually took this at the geographic South Pole. Now, speaking of the South Pole, that is up next. A geographic South Pole is impossible on a flat Earth, and flat earthers do not shy away from this fact.
No one's at the South Pole because there is no South Pole.
Now, while we were in Antarctica for the final experiment, a friend of mine was actually at the South Pole. His name is John Santandrea. He works at the South Pole every year, and I asked him to take some pictures for me while he was there this past December.
Hey, do you think it would be possible that they could just take a sign and put it anywhere and take a picture? How could you disprove this sign? How could you disprove that this right here is right where this is? How could we?
Especially when, you look at all different photos from same days and times, and the flags change and things change. It's like, okay, well, that's a reason to be suspicious enough. But just coming from a common sense standpoint, it's like, okay, well, we know how you claim the Earth's magnetism works and how compasses work and how we have a North Pole and we have the South Pole. The South Pole isn't just supposed to be something that aligns somehow with the stars or anything like that. It's supposed to be this whole, like magnetic point, the other side of the, magnet essentially. But, that's actually not how magnets work in reality. So it breaks another question. It's like, well, if this exists, why don't magnets just why don't they point south in the South Pole? Why are they known that they like typically stop working or they kind of work funny out there, but they definitely don't start pointing south as you cross the equator and start running south. They always point north towards that North Celestial Pole. So what do you want us to think? Anyways. I think you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Like, how could I prove this sign? Like, what is this guy in the picture that's holding the sign? What does he do? How long did he spend his life? He said he's been going there for a long time. Like, what does he do for the government? How much does he give up to be able to go here and to even take this picture, right? The reason why I bring that up is because an ordinary person can't doesn't have the time to go here and map out this entire place to be like, yes, this is the geographical South Pole. So it's like, again, all their proof is unverifiable, unfalsifiable for the average person. But then when we do say, okay, for the average person, let's see if we can falsify the R value, right? Since all the things in cosmology, modern cosmology, is based upon that R value, let's see if we can see too far. And when we do those observations and we look so far and it doesn't make any sense, right? Oh, it's refraction. The light is bending around the curve. Like, you're seeing on the other side of the hill. Like, how, like, those are things that the average person can go and do and prove to themselves. The average person can't go here, Will Duffy, and map this out to prove that this guy is actually where he says he is. Sorry.
Right. Look at the picture in the chat and Discord. You can absolutely believe them.
Let me see.
In our messaging in the
Yeah.
You can totally believe them.
Is it a private message?
No, it's just in the CEF live stream chat.
Oh, okay. Like, oh, here we go. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they love it. Alrighty, let's keep jamming. Oops.
Now, if a geographic South Pole does not exist on a flat Earth, then where was my friend John? Well, flat earthers like to claim that since a geographic South Pole does not exist, that people who go to the South Pole are just dropped off at some random spot in Antarctica. Well, this is simply not true. People visit the South Pole for many reasons, but one of the main ones is to visit the Amundsen-Scott South Pole Station.
Can I say something really quick, bro? It wouldn't even surprise me. Like, I just literally thought about this. What if Antarctica is actually not the ice wall? What if Antarctica is just another continent? Just hear me out. Is another continent. There's other continents on other sides, right? Before you get to the ice wall, but they're just frozen. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't even surprise me if Antarctica was its own continent, but it wasn't on the end of a ball. It's on the plane of the Earth. It's just its own thing. You kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I can totally see that because, like I have said prior, that I don't personally believe that they can necessarily reach to the firmament, and I think it potentially goes a lot further than what they're like. Okay, this is 80 degrees south. This is 90 degrees south. It's like, well, that's fine on your ball because it has to end at 90 degrees south. But it's like on the plane that continues to where it goes for a while like that. Who knows how far it goes until it terminates at the firmament.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's there's so much assumption. I think that even we honestly have baked in that we hear the Iceland, we see the kind of the AE map, and we're like, oh, that kind of looks like an ice wall. That kind of looks like the edge of a firmament. Maybe that's the edge of the pond. And it's like, no, well, maybe it could be a continent. And they did go to the center of that continent, whatever. But that doesn't mean that it's on the tip of a ball. You know what I mean? Who knows? But let's keep checking.
This is an over 80,000 square foot building that has as many as 150 people working in it at a time. So one of the first questions I like to ask flat earthers who deny the geographic South Pole is this: where is the Amundsen-Scott station? Please show me on a flat earth map where this gigantic station is located. And flat earthers historically have failed to respond to this simple question. I will be asking Sean this question during our discussion. And I would like to suggest that if flat earthers do not know where the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station is, they need to rethink their stance on flat Earth. Even if you have not been to the Eiffel Tower, it's easy to show where it is on a map. And if you wanted to travel there, it would be relatively easy for anyone to get there. The South Pole is no different. Anyone, and I mean anyone, this includes children, can show you on a globe where the South Pole is. And if people want to visit the South Pole, you can. But if we live...
Children can also share with you that they are a different gender than they are born. They can also share with you facts that are not true. Let's go back 60 years. The Earth was the moon was only 23 million miles away, and the universe was only 14 billion years old. It's so because children can tell you something, that all of a sudden makes it more true. Like, what a horrible argument.
Yeah, and it's like, well, yeah, you make this claim that it's this obvious point at the bottom of the ball, but you're like, oh, but the magnetic pole changes, and it's not actually the same as the geographic pole, and you could just you look at at our silly globe Earth balls that say on them not to use them for any navigation purposes, and you claim that obviously that's the location that you would navigate to. And, to me, you want to know where that location could possibly be? Anywhere there's ice. I don't know, because I don't trust any of you people. Like, literally, the entire thing is set up by a bunch of people I do not trust. And you being one of them, Will Duffy, you do not ring me as a genuine, trustworthy, honest individual. You seem to be a weasel, respectfully, and I don't mean that in a harsh way. It's just you can't be this dishonest about the Bible and be a pastor at the same time. That's what irks me. Not anything to do with the shape of the earth. That's a simple discussion I can have with anybody. I do it all the time. It's the fact that you are supposedly a teacher of the scriptures and you don't even know them. You should have that little teaching license revoked.
I don't even know if he has, like, I don't know, like, I don't know if he's ever provided any type of credentials or whatever, but
Metaphor.
Yeah, no, dude, it's there's so many arguments, man. There's literally so many arguments that, at this point, they're just coming to quantum physics and dark matter, and they have to invoke these things, multi-universe theory, like, to be able, a multiverse theory, like, all these other things to be able to basically hide the lies or make the lies plausible. You know what I mean? It's like they said, oh, this is how big the earth is, before they ever thought we would have cameras that could see this far. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't anticipate some of the other things, and it's like, that's how the pendulum swings. Like, evil may press, but it's hard. Like, if evil presses hard, then they create a renaissance, right? Like, Rome had infinite power, and they try to suppress the believers, and all they did was make it blossom further along down the road, right? And so in the exact same way, it's like, yeah, go ahead, Duffy, do your thing, because all you're going to do is eventually bring people to the truth. You're just like Cyrus, even though he wasn't an actual godly man, was used by God in order to bring God's will, right? Like, he uses even unbelievers into his plan. So You're definitely a part of that, as everyone is. Go ahead.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I had somebody that I worked with, and I was just asking certain questions, on this topic because somebody else pressed me on it, and it came up, and then he wants to ask questions, and I give him honest answers, and we talk about it, and we have great conversations. And he and his girlfriend watched Will Duffy's documentary like as soon as it came out a while ago, and he had said to me that, and I have not seen it, but he had said to me that the behavior on the side of the people who were pushing the globe agenda was so awful, so terrible, the way that they spoke and acted, that it made him, even if he thought that was the proof, and it made it indisputable, he didn't want anything to do with it because of how they acted there during that entire thing. So prideful, no humility. Like, guy's supposed to be a Christian. The other people there just like acting almost borderline insane. McToon literally acting like a lunatic out there, like screaming and
Like a
shouting
jester.
and like a jester. Yeah, exactly. And it's like like the average person can see that stuff and they go, wow, you guys are a joke too, though. And you're supposed to be like representing our side. And, it honestly didn't do well to like, if you guys could just cater yourselves to humble and, without your duper's delight happening, and you gotta get off on, get off on that and stuff. If you could just hold it back a little better, you could have better pull. But I don't think you can do that because you're wicked.
At least it seems so, right? For sure.
Right.
All right, let's keep going. You know what's insane, bro? We skipped a little bit of the beginning, and we're 29 minutes into this thing, and we've been streaming for an hour and a half. Like, that's how preposterous Will Duffy is.
Live on a flat Earth, and no one can show where the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station is on a flat Earth, then how is it that anyone can travel there? The answer is simple. We know where it is only on the globe because we live on a globe. And I predict no one, including my opponent, will be able to show where this is on a flat Earth map because we don't live on a flat Earth.
Ring-a-ding-ding. No such thing as a flat Earth map, sir.
So once again, the globe was correct. There is a geographic South Pole. That brings...
And there's no globe map either.
Yeah. Where's the biblical map? God didn't make a map, so, so stupid.
Brings us to my final point in this discussion, and that is Southern Hemisphere flights. Flat Earthers denied for years that nonstop Southern Hemisphere flights were real.
Some globe debaters will acknowledge this fact, but rebut with the claim that non-stop Sydney to Santiago flights follow a great circle route over the Pacific, remaining in the southern hemisphere the entire time, therefore increasing the necessary flight distance, speed, and duration. With regards to this claim, firstly, it has yet to be proven that these flights even exist, since no unedited video footage exists online, and every time flat earthers have attempted to book the non-stop flight, it fails to go through, gets cancelled and refunded days before departure, or changes to a non-direct flight.
A non-stop Southern Hemisphere flight is an airplane flight that both departs and lands in the Southern Hemisphere without crossing the equator. The reason flat earthers denied these flights existed is because on a flat Earth, the South gets bigger and bigger the further you go past the equator. And so these flights would be physically impossible in the South on a flat Earth by the fact that the South is just too big for a flight to cover these distances in a relatively short amount of time and without refueling. Two very specific flight routes are tied to TFE, and they once again confirm the globe and falsify flat Earth. The first is the nonstop flight between Santiago, Chile, and Sydney, Australia. Critical Think, a YouTuber who joined us for the final experiment, lives in Australia and took this nonstop flight both on his way to Antarctica and on his way home after Antarctica. This flight is impossible on a flat Earth. I'm looking forward to hearing Sean's explanation of this flight on a flat Earth map, because there is not a plane in existence that could fly the distance required on a flat Earth map, and that can fly fast enough to make such a distance in such a relatively short amount of time. The next flight route is flights to and from the South Pole. Flights that originate in South America, South Africa, and New Zealand fly to Antarctica multiple times per year, and then after switching aircraft, take people to the South Pole on ski planes. A ski plane lands on skis as opposed to wheels, as there is no runway at the South Pole.
Oh, thank you for that information, brilliant Will Duffy.
Here is a quick visual. Okay, that's not going to play, but that's fine. These flights originate in 3 different continents, and then the ski planes all meet up after very short flights at the South Pole. This is once again physically impossible on a flat Earth and is exactly what would happen on a globe. In closing, I would like to read a verse from the Gospel of John. Jesus says this in chapter 3, verse 12. If I have told you earthly things and you do not believe, how will you believe if I tell you heavenly things?
Will Duffy, thank you for summing up what your whole theology is. You take a scripture like this, literally take it out of context. If I have told you earthly things and you do not believe, how will you believe if I tell you in heavenly things? This isn't talking about space, Will Duffy. This isn't talking about the globe, Earth, Will Duffy. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Please read a paragraph before this and a paragraph after this. I bet you did, but you just chopped it up here because it just so happened to go along with your ridiculous argument.
Yeah, you avoid, neglecting and avoiding all the other scriptures that, it's like, okay, well, he said he, cast bounds and put a compass upon it and made the foundations and built a firmament and has upper chambers, and there's a place called Sheol in the underworld, and there's windows in the heavens that open up, and it's fountains of the deep and the great sea below and above, and all
think
these
about
things.
how arrogant this statement is, bro. He is saying, if I have told you earthly things and you do not believe, how will you believe if I tell you heavenly things? Like, literally think about arrogance of him saying, like, you flat earthers, I've told you about earthly things and you do not believe. How will you believe me if I tell you of heavenly things? Like, what a literal idiot.
I know.
Like, oh my God.
He's like, if I, basically, like, if I were to tell you the gospel, you wouldn't even believe me because you don't even believe the earthly things that I've said about you. Like, how would you believe me about the heavenly things, about where we will spend eternity with Jesus? Why don't you tell us where heaven is and where the kingdom or whatever happens? Why don't you tell us a little more about that, Will?
It's all metaphor, bro. It's just all metaphor.
You just do what you want your whole lives because there's no law. It's all just done away with. You just
do what you want to do. That's the whole law, baby. Come on.
That's the whole law, man. That's what God said, right? What God? I don't know. Huh?
Yeah. Alrighty. Let's keep dragging. He's almost over. At least
This
for now.
reminds me so much of this conversation and debate. Sean has now been told and shown earthly things, facts about our present reality and the globe we live
Facts on the globe we live in.
on.
Like
If he
space.
cannot accept this, then that is only a hindrance to a proper understanding of Scripture and heavenly things.
Boom. Boom. Sean, boom.
I predict that Sean will try to avoid discussing the observations and experiments we did as part of TFE and instead focus on what the Bible says. But if some
What? What? Wait, what? Like, I wish I had the sound where it's like in cartoons when people like their head is spinning, you know what I mean? Like, what? It's like standing for truth, biblical creation, and he's like, watch, Sean's going to use the Bible to prove this. He's not going to look at my observations and the heavenly things. He's going to look at the earthly things, and it's like so stupid.
someone cannot understand our present world, the one we live in and the one we can go measure and test and explore, then their opinion on what the Bible says is not going to be that respectable, at least not to me. If you cannot understand earthly things, how are you going to understand spiritual things? The Message Bible translates John 3:12 very bluntly. If I tell you things that are plain as the hand before your face and you don't believe me, what use is there?
Again, bro, you're taking this out of context. This has nothing to do with Will Duffy showing us the hand that's plain before our face. What an arrogant person, man. Like, what an arrogant man. Gosh.
In telling you of things you can't see, the things of God. And this is where we are at with this conversation. Sean may try to wiggle out of these clear facts about our world by saying he does not have a flat earth map or a working
Self-projection.
flat earth model. But in the 21st century, that is no longer a valid excuse.
Self-projection.
There is no shortage of maps today, and there are 100,000 daily commercial flights available to the public, all of which make perfect sense on the globe. And there are no flat earth cartographers or flat earth pilots. Sean, I'm going to take a pretty...
What was that?
I was gonna say, do they all make perfect sense on the globe? Because that is one of the things that
Emergency fights, yeah.
Well, just in like how many flights fly like north into the northern hemisphere from the southern into the northern, then back down into the southern, and you
Doesn't
plot it
affect
out.
them in any way, yeah.
You can't justify it any way for it to make sense. I'm sorry, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is.
pretty firm stance on this. If you are unable to produce a working flat earth map that can account for these 6 things I just went through,
all or nothing fallacy,
then this debate is simply over. I will still engage with you on a biblical conversation and show you that the Hebrew word rakia does not mean a hemispherical dome. But please realize that without a flat earth map, you've lost this debate. We have way too many data points, and all of these data points coexist simultaneously.
That's like the opposite of self-projection. That's like where you steal the fact that we have all the observations and your observations are of the sky, not of the earth. And the ones we have of the earth disprove the sky. I mean, the ones that we have of the earth disprove the globe, and the ones that you have of the supposed sky don't in any way, shape, or form affect what is the earth. So whatever, Will.
And therefore, any map must be able to account for all of them. And the globe
I see. All or nothing fallacy.
does.
No, it doesn't. Lots of issues with the globe, sir. They're projections. We all know this. They'll tell you you can't explore the world based on a globe. It doesn't work that way.
You may have been able to appeal to a lack of accurate maps or a lack of accurate data hundreds of years ago, but you can't do that in 2025. So, Sean?
Yeah, trust the system, bro. Duh. Use all of their data. Duh, bro.
The ball is in your court. No pun intended.
No pun intended. Oh my God.
Will, thank you very much for that 30-minute opening statement and presentation on your 6 major points and arguments. I will
your 6 major arguments in the biblical creation great debate.
now put you backstage and bring in Sean Griffin. Before Sean presents, I will remind everybody in the audience that we are having an audience Q&A as soon as we're done with the discussion portion of tonight's great Shape of the Earth debate. I am all caught up on your questions. I appreciate all of the engagement and interaction in our lively live chat.
Oh my gosh.
Chats.
Stop talking.
We want and also for the provoking argument, the time openings of.
I think this is an important.
Okay, so I'm actually going to stop it here for the night. It's 10 p.m. my time. It's probably later for some of you out there. Definitely thank you all for watching this with us. We're gonna, or presumably, hopefully, we're going to do a. Oh, let me turn this on. We're gonna do a show part 2 tomorrow on this. I think we'll skip Sean's arguments. Maybe we'll just let it play through because we won't really stop it as much. I really want to get into the cross discussion, the cross examination parts of it, because it does get a little spicy there, and I think that's where Will Duffy really falls apart, is when he has to do any type of actual confrontation, when he's not just reading from a script. It definitely seems like he is to me. I could be wrong there, but very robotic in a lot of the things and ways he is. So again, my opinion, I could be wrong. But yeah, it is it's been a long day for me, a long weekend, to be honest. So hopefully y'all enjoyed. Thank you to all the new people that joined us. We do appreciate the support. I know we've been gone for a while, but you know, it is really hard to come up with these constant ideas. And if you look, like, there's tons of episodes on this channel. Like, of course, you know, we're doing it once a week or twice a week, but most of the time, you know, here recently, none a week. So, but it's a lot to come up with, guys, finding videos and things to discuss. And so things like subscriptions and comments and likes and all that jazz, it does give me a boost. It does say, like, hey, yeah, keep making this, we enjoy it. And I am totally up for ideas. Like, if you're like, hey, discuss this topic, you know, maybe we have already kind of discussed it, but we could discuss it in a more micro level, a more nuanced way than in a general way that we have. What my kind of plan is for those who are interested is I'm going to be doing up to episode, like numbered episode to number 52. And then we are going to switch. We're going to, instead of be reading like throughout the whole Bible, like we did in season 1, like from a general perspective, we're going to really focus in on the eschatology. So in this season, we've been talking about a lot of the conspiracy theories leading up to, you know, the end times. And so we will be talking about that like in more detail of how we think these things could kind of take place as we read them in scripture compared to like modern day. So hopefully that sounds exciting. Again, if you have ideas that you would like to us to talk about, please leave those comments below. And as always, thank you for joining us. Kyle, brother, thank you for joining me tonight for this convo, joining me today for Shabbat, and it's always good to have you around, bro.
I appreciate it. It was great, brother.
Oh, what happened? Can I not hear you?
Can you hear me?
There you go.
I just said I appreciate it, and it was great, and yeah, look forward to the part 2 of this.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's gonna get better. It's like this whole thing. It's like, man, this is like the hardest part to get through with. At least in the cross exam or the open discussion, we get to hear Sean like confront Duffy. Though we have like the weird Donnie shenanigans, or I'm gonna put my foot down, guys. But anyways, I won't go anymore. All right, good night, everyone. Until next time, remember that Abba loved you first. Good night, everybody. Peace.
Shalom, everyone.